贵宾演讲。
我们真的很感动，各位贵宾都从那么远的地方来。接下来我们要介绍的这位贵宾，他真的是从很远的地方来的，是从美国的这个宾州来的，就是7450地区的 PDG Dan Bronson， 大家以热烈的掌声欢迎他。
Chairman Lawyer, governors, students, families, and my fellow Rotarians. It is always a pleasure to speak with others who believe in service above self. But it is my great honor to be with you who have shown your belief in service through the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. While we all demonstrate our Rotary ideals through weekly meetings and diverse service projects, you show your love for kids, your dedication to a better world, and your tireless efforts through providing opportunities to our young people every day, every week, every year. I stand humbly before you, before so many great Rotarians, because 25 years ago, Rotarians in India decided to host my daughter, a country girl from the USA. During that year, I was invited to join Rotary, and it has changed my life and the lives of everyone in my family. Since then, my younger daughter was a Rotary Exchange student in Ecuador, and our family has hosted 22 students from around the world. To those Rotarians who opened their hearts and their homes to my daughters, and to the many Rotarians and others who have opened their hearts to young people since then, I thank every one of you. I have two tasks today. First of all, I want to share with you the challenge that I have given to all of the North America Youth Exchange programs. That is, to make our exchange students, inbound and outbound, a real part of Rotary. Each student should regularly visit the Rotary clubs, take part in Rotary projects, develop a full understanding of what Rotary is, and develop a habit of service that will affect the rest of their lives. I believe that every exchange student should spend at least 2 hours a week making life better for others. While each student may have different interests, each one should find some way of helping senior citizens, younger children, those less fortunate, or their community in general. When an exchange student returns home, there should be a sadness at the parting, but a joy that the community is a little better because the student had been a part of it. It is your job and my job as Rotarians and mentors to guide them and lead them into these opportunities and a broader view of the world. At the end of the day, an exchange is only a success if that student's life demonstrates service above self. My other task is to give you an update on critical issues in North America Youth Exchange with a special emphasis on the United States, because that is where we have better data, and that is because we also are facing the greatest challenges. In the USA, Rotary accounts for 40% of the outbound students who travel to other countries. However, we only have 6% of the inbound students. That is because Rotary has a genuine exchange program for inbounds and outbounds, while other organizations are bringing in as many as 20 students to the U.S. for everyone going outbound. Those groups are professional exchange organizations, AFS, Youth for Understanding, AYUSA, and many others who have paid staffs and are charging very significant fees to the families of students coming to the U.S. Because of our low percentage of inbound students, we have a very small voice in making changes and in influencing our legislators. The second challenge is one that most Rotary groups face: the lack of host families. In the U.S., this is even more of an obstacle due to the general lack of appreciation by American families for the value of an international education and cross-cultural interaction. In fact, we have one of the lowest ratios in the developed world of exchange students to the student age population. Generally, this is made significantly more difficult because of the Rotary guidelines of 2 to 3 host families per student and the Rotary prohibitions against the families of outbound students being required to host inbound students. The third and most difficult challenge is regulatory control. In North America, as here in Taiwan, our youth exchange programs are certified by Rotary International. This has been a significant change for Rotary Youth Exchange and a difficult hurdle for a number of districts who are still not certified today. However, this is really just a district chair and a district governor stating that they follow the 82 items in the Rotary guidelines. There is no inspection or audit process that assures that this is real. In the USA, there is a second level that exists for overseas exchange programs. This is the Council on Standards for International Educational Travel. Most schools in the U.S. require that a program be accepted for listing by CSIET in order to register inbound students. This organization assures compliance through annual audits of procedures and documents by certified public accountants. The audit addresses the standards established by CSIET for inbound and outbound students, and also all of the items required by the United States Department of State for J-1 visas students coming to the U.S. These audits do not ask you what you do, but require evidence for the completion, completeness, and timeliness for all aspects of the program. One of the results of this is that you may have seen here in Taiwan is American Rotary programs requesting documentation from you for our auditors that the host families here for our students have been interviewed, selected, oriented, trained, and had reference checks verified and background checks completed before a student is placed in the home. Is this an unreasonable request? Yes, but it's one that we have to do. All in all, these audits generate significantly more effort and documentation, plus an additional cost per year of about $10,000 per program. Failure to successfully pass the audit can result in loss of listing by CSIET and therefore the inability to place students in many high schools in the USA. The final organization regulating youth exchange is the U.S. Department of State. Next year, the State Department will start its own audit process. And in addition, they have currently proposed and published much more difficult regulations which could significantly affect U.S. exchanges. We estimate that it could reduce exchanges to the U.S. by as much as 2/3 for Rotary groups. The most problematic of these new rules is an annual FBI fingerprint-based criminal background check that must be conducted for all adults involved in the program and all host families with residents 18 years or older. And these are in addition to the Social Security number, child abuse, and criminal background checks that are currently performed by private vendors. The additional cost for the new checks will be between $1,200 and $2,000 for every exchange student, and will be a significant burden for the many small clubs who host students. It will also add a great deal of inconvenience and 8 to 10 weeks of processing time for host family approval and therefore visas. The proposed regulations will also require 8 additional hours of training for club counselors and district officers, plus a 3-hour annual refresher course every year on Department of State regulations. There are also new rules that will prohibit single parents from hosting unless they have school-age children in the home. These are just a few examples of the 8 pages of new rules that have been proposed and have already been published in the Federal Register for public comments that must be prepared by June the 2nd. The final regulations will be enacted before the end of this year and will be in effect for the 2011-2012 school year. As you can see, we are facing a difficult time at the very point in history when the world continues to shrink, when we become more and more interdependent, and when intercultural programs such as Rotary Youth Exchange are more critical than ever in creating international understanding and promoting world peace. So if you become frustrated with us, please understand that we do the things that we do and require the things that we require, not because we want to, but because the forces that control us are more difficult every day. In closing, on a happier note, let me reiterate my personal appreciation and that of the entire North American Youth Exchange Network for the opportunities you give our students and the exceptional Taiwanese young people that you have shared with us. Through every exchange, you give a student more opportunities and our world a better chance for a better future. Thank you and God bless you.
谢谢 PDG Dan Bronson 的演讲，也谢谢他这么老远赶过来